I will tell you.
How many more do we have? We have one more to go.
One more,
we have
at least.
Georgia.
I have been one who has said that I think that they're indicting him because they want him to be the nominee because they think he's the most beatable. I think they are making a miscalculation on that. But
why do you think they're making a miscalculation on that?
Because I think he's going to beat Biden if he's the nominee.
You do?
Yeah.
Even if he's in jail?
He's not going to go to jail.
No.
And here's why.
Well, this indictment
is
ridiculous.
bullshit.
It's total ridiculous.
It's total freaking bullshit.
And you're not a fan.
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan. I'm not necessarily a fan, but you know.
I believe that this stuff happens because he brings it upon himself.
Yeah.
You know, the Stormy Daniels thing, that's his problem. The holding the document, indicted on the documents, he held on to documents. He knew that he shouldn't have them, and he kept them.
Yeah.
And he obstructed
and he knows
justice.
They're coming after him.
Yeah. And on this, if you read the indictment, which I did, if you claim that you won, or you think you won, or you want to challenge if you won, you're now at risk of being indicted. Yeah. I mean, they could have indicted Al Gore or George W. Bush in 2000, either of them, based on this premise. They could have indicted Stacey Abrams in Georgia. They could have indicted Hillary Clinton based on this premise.
I guess they could still indict Hillary Clinton.
Maybe. I mean, they could indict the actors who did that stupid video, Unite America, whatever it was, after the 2016 election, in which they called on the Electoral College to follow their conscience and don't cast your vote for the duly elected president, cast your vote for somebody who is duly capable of being the president.
Yeah.
I mean, this indictment is absurd.
It's throwing you-know-what on the wall. And just sticking whatever they can against Donald Trump.
They're so desperate.
And the timing of it, I completely agree with other podcasters and prognosticators, is right after Devin Archer testifies on Capitol Hill, boom, they come out with the indictment. Everything is timed. Everything is political. Nothing is true anymore. It's just ridiculous.
That we truly...
We're in banana republic.
It is a banana republic. I mean,
I mean, a DOJ going specifically after
the political opponent,
sitting a declared presidential candidate, whether you like him or not, and most of his money that he's raising is just for his defense.
Yeah,
and it's unbelievable. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Like I said.
This indictment is all about free speech. Right. And even after the election, I mean, they went around, they filed tons of court cases across the fruited plain, challenging the election. They had every right to do that. They had every right to try to influence people elsewhere. That happens in every election. The Democrats have been doing it forever.
Right.
They challenged the Ohio election back in 2000.
Right.
And 2004. They've done the same thing over and over and over again.
They challenge more elections than Republicans.
Yes, they do.
It's more of a historical thing for Democrats to do this than Republicans, and I think that might be in part why they're pushing back so hard now.
Well,
they don't like the competition.
They can't win on their ideas.
Right.
Consistently, they can't win on their ideas, and they can't own up to the fact that the current president is just as corrupt, just as meaningless as anyone we've had before.
Yeah.
The Biden crime family is alive and well, and the facts are overwhelming against Joe Biden. And then insult to injury, our credit rating gets downgraded to AA+
instead of AAA
by Fitch 2 days ago, and that has never happened.
Even during government shutdowns.
Even during government shutdowns.
Yeah.
And there's going to be more credit agencies doing the same thing.
Right.
And that we're in banana republic, Venezuela pathways here.
It's frightening. And like I said, I'm not a conspiratorial guy. I'm not a big Trump fan. But this just stinks to high heaven. And it really does set a bad precedent. We're going to now basically weaponize any type of election contest
Yeah, because what's good for the goose
forward.
is good for the gander.
Yeah, I mean,
You're going to do this. So you're going to bring a knife. We're going to bring a gun.
Yeah, it's
And
absurd.
the slippery slope is unavoidable.
Yeah. On more local news.
Oh, we have local news. Local news breaking.
The Pac. What are we calling? We're shifting to college sports. Pac
well,
what?
because
Pac
it is
5,
the season.
Pac 6, Pac 7.
It is.
Pac
Well,
9.
I did a little like impromptu rant in my car the other day.
I saw that.
That we posted, and talking about the Colorado Buffaloes moving to the Big 12, which apparently has been in the works for quite some time because the Big 12 unanimously approved the move last week. And then we get word that this week the Pac-12 announced their sort of kind of maybe media deal with Apple Plus, of which it was a whole lot of nothing, a big nothing burger.
Oh.
And now tonight, the Board of Regents are having an emergency meeting, apparently, to discuss the movement of the University of Arizona and the Arizona State University to the Big 12.
Will it be the Big 15?
It'll be the Big 16.
Big 16.
Because they can add either 2, Colorado, Arizona. Arizona has been talked about first. Or
Because
they can
they
add
want it.
4, which would be Colorado, Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah.
Mm.
And then apparently as well, the Big 10 had a meeting earlier this week, maybe it was yesterday or the day before, some of their provosts, they call them their presidents, talking about Washington and Oregon and Stanford and Cal joining
The Big 10?
Big 10 for a Western division, which would include the University of Southern California
So what's
and UCLA.
left for the Pac?
Nothing. Nothing. The Pac-12 is now the Pac-0. I mean, just
Where does BYU
that.
end up in all this?
well, BYU is going to Big 12.
They're going to Big 12.
Yeah, they're going to Big
Or
12.
Big
So
16
so
or
all
Big
this stems
15.
back. We had a Pac-12 commissioner named Larry Scott, and Larry Scott decided that, and this was partially led by the university presidents, that everyone needed to be treated equally within the media rights sphere. And so you remember that USC had sanctions come down on them
Right.
years ago because of actions by Reggie Bush and mostly his parents,
Yeah.
of which he was stripped unnecessarily of his
Of his
Heisman,
Heisman.
and that should be given back tomorrow. But that's a whole nother podcast.
Okay.
But Larry Larry missed the opportunity of adding more teams to the Pac-12 when Texas and Oklahoma were leaving for the SEC. And then his replacement, George Kalaktikov, or I'm going to get the name wrong, didn't do anything either. And so this has been like a slow death.
So the Pac is just kind of
Just
dwindling.
a slow death of like 1,000 cuts, where it's obvious what's happening on the national scale with college football. It's obvious that there's this massive realignment happening. And a lot of it has to do with money. A lot of it has to do with television. I think the per school take for the Big Ten is like $100 million.
Oh, what?
Yeah, and the per school take for the Big 12 is about $35 million, and the SEC is up there in the $100 million mark. So the rich are getting richer, the poor get. But you have teams in that they're never going to be the USCs of the world or UCLAs because of the media markets that they have.
Yeah.
And so this is just the realignment for survival. And I think if U of A and ASU have been approached by the Big 12 and they have an opening for them and they want them, they should go. They should read the writing on the wall, because being relegated to Apple TV Plus or Apple Plus or whatever the heck the streaming service is going to be, that's not going to get you the recruits or the exposure or anything else. And the biggest mistake on the last media market and the last TV contract that the Pac-12 had was their major, and people don't like it when I say this, and that's okay, but their major equity, which is the University of Southern California, was relegated to the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock hour for football. And USC is like, no, we deserve better.
Yeah.
And so they announced they were going to the Big Ten last year.
There you go.
We're going to take our $100 million and we're going to play at noon, and it's going to be great.
Right.
And we'll get national exposure, and we're going to exposure all over the country because we have alumni all over the country.
Yeah.
We're a national brand.
Right.
Sorry you don't like that ASU. Sorry you don't like that U of A, but that's just the way it is.
Truth is truth.
Yeah. Well,
all right. Well, more to come on that front.
So between Trump, Hunter Biden, the Pac-12, and Anheuser-Busch recorded their worst quarter.
Yeah. They laid off a bunch of people.
They laid off a bunch of people, and yet their CEO is still employed, which is outrageous.
Yeah.
Brendan Whitworth should be fired.
It's a dying brand.
It's absolutely sad for their wholesalers and for their brands.
Yeah. All right.
We could rant on forever, but we're out of time.
We're out of time. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Take care.